Ani, sego, pegutit, niwe, kidme, mampi, eyang, anishinabek, ejin kwazant, Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Mige, Windak, Pine, Gayat, Mampi, Ake.
Bojo Wache, Beshagamampi, Williams Treaty Gay.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Can you all hear me? Let's see some faces. It is so great to see you out there, all your faces. I'm so happy to see you all. Good morning, and thank you for joining me today. I'm so happy to be here to speak to you all and to kick off the new academic year. I can't tell you, you could probably see the excitement, how excited I am to be here. As many of you know or have read, I basically grew up at Seneca. I started here in the then School of Marketing and E-Business 19 years ago and have spent time as faculty, program coordinator, chair, director of marketing and communications as well. Seneca feels like home to me, and I'm so proud to be part of this community again. I'm here at the Newnham campus today. There are 10 people joining me live, and I'll show you them in a second. I will do that now, actually. I'd like to thank a few of the people who are here. Joining me today is Ritik Sharma, and I'm going to put him on camera. The president of the Seneca Student Federation, he's here. Also, Frank Yee, president of OPSU 560, is here today, as well as faculty and administrators. And I really appreciate them being here with me today. I'm in this room because I've been very excited about Seneca's new flexible technology, and I wanted to try it myself. I may live to regret that decision this morning, but we're gonna give it a try. I want to let you know that I've been given approval to be here, that we're following safety precautions. There's 10 people in the room. They all have their masks on. I just took my mask off so that you can hear me. And so that will be a little bit different than those of you who are teaching in flexible. You will have your mask on, but I recognize that. I can't wait to be in person together soon, but for now, we're gonna do it this way. And we'll see how it goes. I'm very excited about it. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. To those of you that have had some time off this summer, welcome back. I hope that you had the opportunity to log off and relax a little bit. To those of you who've been with me here throughout the summer, the weather has provided a backdrop to some amazing summer weekends. And now the fall semester begins. It's hard to believe, but I've been the VPA at Seneca, my dream job, by the way, for 8 weeks. And I've spent the last 8 weeks listening to as many of you as possible. Although it's been difficult to meet with students, given the timing, I met with Ritik, who gave me some very interesting insights into what's on the minds of students. And I look forward to meeting with more students this fall. I held my first virtual coffee chat, and that was attended by over 120 faculty. And I look forward to more of those this fall. So keep your eyes out, faculty, for those invites. And I've also had great meetings with the chairs and the deans. All of that feedback that I received has informed the thoughts that I'm going to share with you today. What an exciting time to be back at Seneca. As you all know, we are in the middle of a comprehensive renewal, Seneca au large. And quite frankly, au large is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to be back. With this bold vision for the future, Seneca is going to emerge stronger than ever. As President Agnew told us yesterday, sometimes the riskiest thing to do is nothing. And there's no worry about that here at Seneca. We're not going to do anything. We never have. It's not in our DNA. For the next 30 minutes, I'd like to accomplish 3 things. I'd like to spend a little bit of time looking back at the past academic year. I'd like to talk about our focus for the next academic year. And then I'd like to answer some of your questions. So if you have a question, you're all muted. But if you have a question, feel free to type in the chat, and I'll try to answer as many as I can at the end of this presentation. I may not get to them all, but I will get back to you if I haven't. Tina DeSimone, Associate Vice President Academic, who you've met before, is going to try to monitor the chat for me, and she's going to group the questions into themes. So feel free to put them in the chat if you have a question. And we'll see how that all goes. The first thing I'd like to say this morning is thank you. I have to start with that. Thank you. You've all stepped up for our students in extraordinary ways. To our faculty, I applaud you. You learned new platforms, you experimented with technology, you figured it out. You figured out how to engage our students virtually, some of them learning in different countries and time zones. And some of you taught in person throughout the pandemic, safely and courageously. All of this while dealing with your own lives at home and COVID, like all of us were. From listening to unique content delivery to adaptation, you excelled, and I thank you. I'd also like to commend the administrators and our support staff as well. Think back to February 2019 when we thought we were dealing with chaos. What we thought was chaos then seems very simple now. You've planned, you've replanned, you planned again, and I know how much work that was and still is. Contingency planning is hard with the rules changing seemingly daily, but you all made it work. I'd like to thank you all for the resolve and creativity that you demonstrated, sincerely. Before we talk about the future, I'd like to spend a few minutes looking back. I wish I could stand here and talk about all of the achievements that you've accomplished over the past academic year, but that might take a little bit longer than I have with you this morning. So I'm going to highlight only a few, knowing that I'm missing many, many great things that are going on at Seneca. I'd like to highlight your achievements in 3 areas: new ways of teaching and learning, some of the ways that you've helped our students shine, and some of the ways that you've contributed to making our community better. So let's start with teaching and learning. As of today, about 250 employees have registered in the Fundamentals of Flexible Delivery course taken through the Teaching and Learning Center. 53 classrooms here at Newnham, King, and Seneca at York will be configured for flexible delivery by next week. And almost 150 sections of flexible classes are available for students to choose from this semester. While we may have some things to iron out when it comes to flexible delivery, and we'll certainly continue to evolve and improve our approach, we're trying new things, and I think that's great. As with any innovation, it's not going to be perfect the first time. And that's okay, because it's going to be really, really good, and it will get better. So I applaud all of you who are exploring new ways to deliver your material. Over the course of the pandemic, you've all had to find new ways to provide students with the experiential learning opportunities that are so important to a Seneca education. For example, Seneca was the first school in Canada to use an innovative platform, Oxford Medical, to augment face-to-face clinical practice in nursing. Also, last week, I watched a demonstration of 2 virtual reality experiences developed by our Center for Teaching and Learning and the Faculty of Communication, Art and Design, in collaboration with the School of Nursing and the School of Aviation. These experiences will give students the opportunity to use virtual reality technology to practice important skills. In the fall of 2020, Microsoft and RBC approached Seneca as their first choice educational partner to deliver Microsoft's cloud computing fundamental software, Azure, to 4,000 Canadians between January and June 2021. Over the course of this period, the Faculty of Continuing Education and Training ended up delivering this micro-credential to over 6,000 students. In addition to finding new ways to approach our existing program, you've all been very busy, hard at work, developing new programs. As President Agnew highlighted yesterday, over the past academic year, 13 programs have been launched, with another 10 currently in development. Applied research is an important part of a great polytechnic education, and Seneca Innovation continues to lead the way in this space. The Seneca Center for Innovation in Life Sciences, SKILLS, formally launched in the fall of 2020. SKILLS is an applied research center based in the School of Biological Sciences and Applied Chemistry, which is supported by $2 million in funding from the NSERC Innovation Enhancement Program. The center focuses on industry-partnered research in the areas of diagnostics and cosmetics. One of the first projects undertaken at SKILLS involved the development of components of a rapid COVID-19 diagnostic test. Clearly, Seneca is not standing still when it comes to teaching and learning. Now on to our students. It says a lot about Seneca that when I asked our deans to provide some highlights for this talk today, so many of the highlights they sent me centered around the achievements of our students. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So I was very happy to see them all. Students from the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering Technology took home some serious hardware at the Scales Ontario competition, winning both silver and gold medals, as well as an award of excellence for top ranking competitor representing a college. We will have 2 students competing at the National Skills Canada competition in May 2022, and we will be very proud rooting them on as we watch that. As well, some of our technology students competed against Ontario colleges and universities and placed first in the Canadian Collegiate Cyber Exercise. And how proud were we of our School of Hospitality and Tourism students and faculty being featured in the all-employee meeting yesterday, dancing their hearts out, and actually featured today on Ken Steele's newsletter, which is a national newsletter. So very, very proud of our students and the faculty behind all that work. And finally, our community. Educational institutions like Seneca play a unique role in building a better, more equitable world. Seneca has demonstrated that we are graduating not only competent students, but students who are aware of the world around them. And this is something you should all be really proud of. This is important. Through the Art for Change project, Seneca, with Adobe as a partner, invited students to create augmented reality artwork to raise awareness of equity, diversity, inclusion, and sustainability. This opportunity gave students the chance to have their work showcased across Seneca and to apply for an Adobe Creative Residency Community Fund grant. As well, student leaders from the Faculty of Applied Arts and Health Sciences raised funds to help the homeless and vulnerable members of the community, as well as collected food for the food bank of York Region. They also raised money to support the men's street ministry in Hamilton and Bradford, and In From the Cold, an organization that supports those that are homeless or at risk of being homelessness. And that's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart, and I'm very, very proud of our students' involvement in that. Seneca School of Media partnered with a media company, Avid, to deliver a free of charge micro-credential to BIPOC students to help them break into the booming film and television industry. On the sustainability file, in order to enrich its curriculum with sustainable business management content, Seneca Business has worked on the development of new courses and has revamped existing courses to reflect sustainable business content. For diploma students, a first semester sustainability course has been developed. This course provides students the opportunity to explore social responsibility principles and sustainability frameworks. Students are also introduced to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and their relevance in business. This course has been developed with the potential to be added to all business diplomas and advanced diplomas. And those of you that saw David Suzuki yesterday know that this is more important than ever, that we provide our students with this context. As well, Seneca and other post-secondary institutions have been collaborating with the City of Toronto since fall 2020 to address and support the city's COVID-19 recovery. Seneca faculty and students have been working on research projects to understand and provide solutions to challenges faced by vulnerable residents, including access to technology, services, and support for seniors. Finally, I could give you countless examples of Seneca grads who are making a difference, but I've chosen one. We have a graduate in the Liberal Arts University Transfer Program offered through the Faculty of Arts who recently joined the TTC as their new racial equity officer. So her role will be to work on anti-racism strategies and apply a racial equity lens to the hiring process. Very, very important. What all of these initiatives, as well as the countless others that are happening throughout Seneca, demonstrate is that not only are we preparing students who will excel in their careers, we are graduating human beings who care for a community. And I'm so proud of that. What a great set of achievements that you've all accomplished over the past year. So now let's look to the future. In my conversations with you over the past several weeks, several themes came across loud and clear. And I've started to formulate our academic direction for the next 12 to 18 months based on that feedback. The academic direction that I'm presenting today is not final by any stretch. I've only been here 8 weeks, remember? I will continue consultations over the next month or so to finalize this plan. I want to make sure that I have the opportunities to speak to those of you that were not here over the summer when I was working on this. I hope to speak to many of you over the next couple of months. This will become our academic roadmap to support OLARGE. The plan should be finalized and released by mid-October, at which point we can all start mapping out the actions to support the achievement of this plan. So you've been hearing a lot about innovation and transformation. We hear that a lot. And we all know that we are at the precipice of what could be some of the greatest changes that post-secondary education have ever seen. Changes that actually started a while ago, but that have been propelled by the pandemic. And there's no going back. We have to continue to innovate to build on the learning and lessons of the pandemic. And so how are we going to move forward? We're going to move forward confidently. Confidently because we've got each other to rely on. I'm going to propose that we tackle innovation by doing some big things, but also by staying true to our core mission of providing a great education to our students. And in some cases, stepping back a little bit to what is the heart of a great Seneca education, and doing that in new and better ways. One thing I want you all to remember as we move forward, and you're probably going to witness that today in this demonstration, is that it's okay not to be perfect. We're not going to stand still waiting for perfect. We're going to move ahead and assess and talk about it and move ahead some more, always together. We're not going to stand still waiting for perfect. So the plan. So our focus must be grounded in the vision of OLARGE, an equitable Seneca, a sustainable Seneca, a more virtual Seneca. And I see us as an academic team focused on 3 main themes, which builds on this vision. The first pillar is, we will prepare our graduates to accept the challenges of the changing world. We will provide employers access to the talent that they need to innovate and thrive post-pandemic. So that's a bold statement. So how? I have a few thoughts here. First, we're going to do this by focusing on quality, by providing exceptional quality in both our programs and our delivery. I've heard a lot about this from faculty. While much of this plan is about the new, this part of the plan is about the better. And what do I mean about better? Academic standards that we can all be proud of. And I think we've got some thinking to do here. A strategic approach to delivery. What that means is continuing to look at student needs as we work out program delivery. You've all worked hard to make online delivery work through the pandemic. Now we have the opportunity to stand back a little bit and develop really high quality experiences in all delivery modes, in person, online, hybrid, and flexible. We now have the time to strategically assess delivery and do that by looking at student needs. Some courses need to be back face-to-face when we are able to, in order to maximize student success. For some, it makes sense to remain online, and they should continue that way. And for some, hybrid and flexible makes sense. I propose that we think through those decisions strategically as we move forward. The second thing is continuing to provide relevant programming designed to keep up with the changing nature of skills required for today's job. We will work on an approach to new program development that is quicker and more streamlined so that we can keep up with changing needs. Some of this is out of our hands, I know, because it involves approval processes outside of our control. But I think there are things that we can do better to be quicker and more responsive. Similarly, we will develop an approach to program renewal that ensures that existing programs continue to remain relevant. Our students deserve that. We will continue to grow our efforts to incorporate the important principles of sustainability and equity, diversity, and inclusion in our curriculum, and actually in all aspects of our work. The third thing I sort of am thinking of under this pillar is providing work-integrated and other experiential learning opportunities that give our students the hands-on experiences that employers demand. You have shown that with ingenuity and hard work, you can uncover experiences for our students that we never imagined. I'm excited for our students about what more we can do here. And finally, this is the one I'm excited about all of them, but I'm excited about this one especially. By providing a clearly articulated link between the skills and attributes considered important by employers and the tasks and activities that we use to teach them. So we've been talking about soft skills and their importance since I started teaching 20 years ago. We've mapped them, we've remapped them, we've called them soft skills, we've called them durable skills, then they became transferable skills. What I'd like us at Seneca to figure out is how do we meaningfully both for our students and for the industries that we are preparing our students for, find a way to differentiate our graduates by focusing on these important skills in a way that builds on their discipline knowledge, but is distinct and infused throughout their learning. And in a way that students can really go out there touting that they have these skills. So there's some exciting opportunities here. I think that we can really do something very different in the sector. So that's a lot in that pillar. There's a lot to unpack, and I know that you'll all have ideas to contribute as we work through it. The second pillar is we will continue to build strong partnerships. Collaboration and strategic partnerships will be critical to our continued success, both with industry partners and academic partners. Our thinking around partnerships needs to be innovative, and we need to think more broadly about the partnerships we engage in. The first pillar had us really looking internal to Seneca. This pillar has us looking out, and I think this is equally important. And I heard a lot of great ideas on this pillar from our chairs. And this actually came to me after my conversations with a couple of chairs who put this, who explained how important and critical it was to remain externally focused in our programs. Seneca has the capacity for a wide range of partnerships, from partnerships with Avid to provide short focus training for entry-level jobs in the film industry, to partnerships with Niagara University to provide master's level programming and everything in between. While pathways out for our students are critical, it's also about partnering with institutions to receive students. And we're doing a lot of this, but I think there's an opportunity to do more. It's about international partnerships, applied research partnerships, international applied research partnerships. I think you get the message. There's lots of opportunity here around partnerships, and we have some real expertise at Seneca already in this area. The third pillar is we will work better together, or we will work together better. I spent about 2 hours trying to figure out what order to put that in. And so together we'll figure out what the best order, but when I talk about this pillar, I think you'll understand what I mean by it when I'm thinking about it. Up until now, I've been talking about the things we need to do, the what. In many ways, the how is just as important as the what. And this pillar speaks to the culture that we together will create as an academic team at Seneca. I think some of you know me, and I'm really a teacher at heart. That's what I will always be, a teacher at heart. Even when I had moved on to being a chair and a director, I made sure that I made time to teach at least one course a year because it was critical to be on the ground listening to students and experiencing firsthand what faculty were telling me. The insights that come from all of you and your students have made it clear to me that listening and leading are not exclusive. In fact, they're both critical for our success. I know exactly where some of the best magic happens at Seneca, and that is at that moment in the classroom, virtual or otherwise, where faculty and students interact. That's some of the best magic. And my commitment to you is that I will continue to talk to students and faculty because you are at the heart of what we do, always respecting the relationships between faculty and their chair and deans. We have to respect the hierarchy, but stay close to the ground to hear what's going on. Similarly, I've relied on conversations with the chairs and deans for many aspects of this academic direction, and I'll continue to listen and respect their perspective. It means that even when we might not see matters the same way, that it is never personal, and that I will help set a collaborative tone of respect and exchange. And as has always been the case at Seneca, I will expect everyone else to do as well. This is how I believe we can achieve the ambitious task ahead of us and emerge out of the pandemic stronger than ever. By listening to each other, by respecting each other's views, by keeping our minds open to new ideas, by accepting that sometimes things don't go as planned, and that's okay, especially when we're innovating and innovating quickly. And that when things don't go as planned because we're trying something new, making sure that we all feel safe enough to talk about it honestly and to look at how we can do better next time. This is how I promise to approach my work and how I expect all of us to approach our work. So there it is, the first draft of our academic direction to support au large. I'm looking forward to many conversations in the weeks to come. And this may change, parts of this may change, but I'm certainly hoping that parts of it will be expanded as we talk through it. Okay, that was a lot of talking. Before I close, and I was only a little bit nervous. I'm looking at the cameras here to look at all the faces. It's very hard not to be all with you together. Before I close, thanks to those of you who submitted questions. I'm not sure if there's questions in the chat, but we did receive a couple of questions prior today around return to campus. And so I'll address that a little bit now. Faculty asked me about when can they return to campus? Can they start to return through their office? How can they get back to interacting with their office mates? And I know that President Agnew clarified these questions for all of you at the all-employee meeting yesterday. So to reiterate, as he indicated, we'll be cautious in our approach, always putting the safety of faculty and staff and students first. We will watch the numbers carefully, but I do hope that we can start to slowly bring more things back to campus. We'll prioritize carefully as we do this. Do I think that we're ever going to go back to life on campus 100% as we knew it 17 months ago? I hope we don't. I think we've learned too much from that. I don't think that the way we teach will be the same post-pandemic, and I don't think the way that we work will be the same. So we'll work our way through that. I'm going to take a few moments now to see if I can see some of the questions in the chat, and Tina's going to help me. Do we have any questions out there, Tina?
We do have a couple, Marianne. Before we go to the questions, you made a reference to President Agnew's address yesterday and the return to campus. One of the questions specifically, will faculty have to wear their masks while teaching on campus? And maybe you can comment the difference between why you are wearing masks on campus today versus what will happen next week.
Yeah, that's a good question. And faculty, the new regulations from our ministry just came out yesterday. So that it's hot off the presses. My understanding from my interpretation of those regulations is that we will all have to wear a mask on campus. I'm not wearing one now because you wouldn't have been able to hear me. And so I checked with health and safety, and I'm not getting close to anyone. You notice I just stood here. As soon as I leave my spot here, I'm going to put it back on. But as you know, when you're teaching, you can't just stand still. That's not great teaching, and I know you're all great teachers. So faculty teaching in the fall will be wearing masks for their safety and the safety of our students. I didn't today for the talk, and I stood right here, and everyone is 6 feet away from me. But in the fall, you will all be wearing masks until things change again. Good question, though.
Thanks, Marianne. The next question is from Lawrence Chi or Chai, and forgive me if I've mispronounced your last name. It's referencing the Case Development Center, and specifically, what role do you see the Case Development Center playing at Seneca?
Yes, thanks, Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence. The Case Development Center is really, really great. It's an opportunity for Seneca to differentiate ourselves in terms of our thought leadership, in terms of leadership in teaching and learning. And we've had some good uptake from faculty and administrators, and actually alumni are now starting to write cases for us. So I see it playing a continued role in our future. I know that, I think I saw Derek online, a couple of faculty have written some really amazing cases, and it just further builds our reputation in the industry. And I think it's a really important way to build our brand where it makes sense. And if faculty are interested, or administrators or alumni are interested in developing a case, I think we have a great set of resources and a bit of a process that works. But it's not for everybody either.
The next question, Marianne, is will we be using Flex in winter?
Flex in the winter. So listen, if I could do Flex, anyone could do Flex is the first message, even though I'm sweating, but I'm trying to play it cool, but I'm a little bit nervous. So I understand. I definitely understand that for faculty, Flex delivery is something that requires thought. So here's my thoughts on Flex for the winter. I think Flex is important, and I think it's here to stay, and I think we're going to grow our Flex delivery. First thing I want to say. The second thing is it's not for everybody. Like I think Flex delivery, it's not for every course. If you're just standing and delivering a lecture, I don't much see the advantage of Flex versus virtual versus hybrid. So I think it comes down to thinking about the course you're delivering and thinking about the activities in your course and how it makes sense to deliver them. I know for the students, because I've spoken to some of the students who are in the School of Hospitality and Tourism here at Newnham who are doing Flex this summer, they think it's great. They love the flexibility. But it's about balancing all of that. So will we be doing more Flex? I hope so. But I've asked Ivy from our Center for Teaching and Learning to pull together a bit of a task force this fall. I'm hoping that task force will include faculty. And I've asked her to look for some of the faculty innovators who are doing Flex, but also for some of the faculty that are a little bit reluctant about Flex on that task force, put them together, and some chairs and some deans and some people from teaching and learning. And just to talk through what we've learned about Flex as we started to pilot them, and see where we go with it and figure out all the aspects that we need to. So to answer that, this is sort of a long answer. Yes, Flex. Yes, more Flex, but very strategically. And I think we need to work out some of the kinks. And that's great. Like we had innovators who jumped right into Flex, and I think that's fantastic. But before we roll it out on a larger scale, I think I'd like to talk to people to roll out, to sort of work out all of the details as we move forward with Flex. Hope that answers the question.
And thanks, Marianne. And there's a few more questions about the Flex and Flex training. And thank you for those of you who are answering your colleagues in the chat. That's helpful, but I'll pose the question to Marianne so you can all hear the answer. There was questions around additional training for Flex, both in the pedagogy and in the technology, and plans for more training in the fall. Yeah,
so more training for sure. And again, if I could do it, anyone could do it. Like I have trouble figuring out my iPhone, but it's not, I'm not going to say it's seamless, right? We need support. And so our IT department is excellent and amazing, and they will support and we will provide training, as well as teaching and learning. Our teaching and learning center will provide training. So that will be part of the plan for a larger scale rollout of Flexible. I won't let training get in the way of rolling Flexible out. If we need to provide more training, we will provide more training.
Another question, and forgive me, I don't remember who sent it because this chat is moving too quickly, but it was a reference to proctoring software and what we might consider for exams for online courses, and are we considering access to proctoring software?
Yeah, I'm laughing because Mark Hanna's in the room and he chair, and he and I have, and he's looking a little sheepish there in the corner. He and I had a conversation around this and virtual proctoring software, and so there's definitely a role for virtual proctoring. We've done a lot of work on authentic assessment and ensuring that we're assessing students in a very authentic way. And I think that's wonderful. And I never want to scale back that work. That's really good and important work. But there are some courses where if we're delivering online, we need to have some system of proctoring virtually. This ties back to the academic integrity piece, ties back to strategically deciding delivery. So we do, what I don't want is us to all go back to final exams, because that didn't make sense. But at the same time, I don't think it makes sense to say to everyone, you must do an authentic assessment. Both of the sides of that coin are equally, to me, not the best. So I think it's around working with your chair, if you're a faculty, looking at your course, and if the chair believes that virtual proctoring would support student learning and support quality of what you're delivering, then we will have the opportunity on a limited basis to offer that. I don't want to go back to a final exam in every class, because you've all done such great work on building towards authentic assessment, and that's so critical. But it's not for everybody. So that's my thoughts on that.
Thanks, Marianne. We have a question from Darcy. Thank you, Darcy, on hearing something about indigenization and decolonization at Seneca. Is that something you can comment on?
Yeah, indigenization is critical and critical and something that we all need to reflect on and think about how we can incorporate those very, very important principles into our curriculum and into our work. And we have several committees looking at this, and it's something that we definitely have to do more of, appreciation of, and understanding. So we will do that. I just want to take a moment to emphasize what President Agnew told us yesterday around September 30th. And I hope that some of you attend some of the offerings put on by our colleagues and take the opportunity to reflect on some of the very important aspects that we all should be thinking about. But I do believe that indigenization is critical as we move forward in our curriculum and our work. Any more, Tina?
Yeah, the next question is about the Adobe Creative Campus. So we've taken a stance in being Adobe Creative Campus. Will that continue?
Yeah, so I think so. I mean, at this point, the plan is yes. I'm interested in hearing what everyone thinks about it. So there's no plan to discontinue Adobe Creative Campus. What I haven't had the time to do is 100% understand how we're using it yet. And so I still have to talk to some people about that. At this point, we have no plans to discontinue it. And we plan to continue it for the near future, and how we move forward with that. I still need to understand a little bit more about how we use it.
I'm just trying to read through the chat to make sure I haven't missed anything.
Any questions from the room by any chance? Oh, I just see, I'm going to try, Ritik has a question. Ritik Sharma, student SSF president. I'm going to try to turn my camera. Watch how I do this, everyone. Just watch. See that? Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I have to find Ritik because I have to unmute him.
Okay, so I heard it. I'll read the question.
Okay,
Yeah, so
you can repeat the question out loud.
Ritik, first of all, said thank you, and I'm the greatest VPA he's ever seen. And it was yeah, he said thank you. Ritik would like to know how, and if I got this wrong, Ritik, please correct me. Your question was around how will final assessment work in flexible format? Yeah, so the question is, from a student perspective, how will final exams and final assessments work in a flexible delivery, which is a good question students might be asking. And I think the answer is, it depends. So for some courses where a final assessment has to be a test, if the faculty feel that that's the best way to, together with their chair, they feel that's the best way to assess, it has to be a test. That may be an opportunity to bring students on campus for an assessment, making sure the numbers work and all that, the capacity limits. But if not, it may be an opportunity for some authentic assessment, a presentation, a group project. So I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to flexible learning and assessment. I think it depends on the nature of the course. I would imagine if it was, and again, I haven't fully taught flexible. So my experience with flexible is half an hour. So keep that in mind. But I would imagine that if a course was really the type of course where it's a lot of content delivery, and it's a type of course where the learning happens that has to be assessed in an individual test, I would imagine that may not be the best use of a flex delivery, right? So I think it comes down to the course and the faculty deciding the best way to assess, and then building a plan around that.
I'm noticing that a few people are raising their hands. I can't find you fast enough to unmute you. So it'd be really great if you could send me your question in the chat, or Karen, if you can see raised hands, if you can unmute folks so they can ask their question.
I just want to, Ritik asked another question to follow up, and I just want to let everyone know that he asked, the question was, will students have the choice to come on campus for a final assessment or to do it virtually? And again, I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all, Ritik, answer. I think it'll be up to the faculty to determine what makes the most sense. We're in a little bit different situation now than we were a year ago. A year ago, we were not able to come on campus. And so there was no choice. But now slowly with flex delivery, I'm talking flex delivery, there may be an opportunity to have some assessment on campus. But it will be, it won't be one size fits all. It'll be dependent on the course. Is that okay? Thank you.
There's a question about President Agnew's presentation yesterday. That was also video captured and recorded, so it will be available I don't know the link right now, but we will get that information to you.
Yeah, we'll get that to you. I'm sure it'll be up on My Seneca.
There's another question. Are there any plans to change the remote policy and enforce students to open their camera to demo at work?
Well, that's a good question. So I know that this morning, when I look this way, I see you on camera. And when I look this way, I see people in the audience. That is just a really great way to deliver. I can understand that as a faculty, if all you're seeing is blank screens, it might be difficult. We haven't talked about changing our practice, but I think we should. I think for some students, they don't want to have their cameras on. And I hate the thought of forcing someone to put their camera on. So maybe it's a matter of developing opportunities for students to want to be on camera. I'm not sure, but I think it's something that we should certainly look at. I never like the idea of forcing. I can't imagine that we would come up with a policy to say you must have your camera on or you cannot have your camera on. Both of those options don't seem very palatable to me, but there's got to be a way. At the same time, I understand how important it is for faculty to engage with faces. It's great to see faces. So I think it's a matter of working together with the students to see what works for them and understanding why they don't want to put their cameras on and coming up with a new approach. It's a good question, though.
I'm not keeping up with the chat. I know Miriam has a question, but Miriam, you're posting it in a separate location, and I'm not sure if I can see it.
So while you're looking,
okay.
Tina, Frank has a question. So Frank will ask it out loud, and then I'll repeat it.
Thank you, Marianne, for joining the.
Wait, let me put you on camera, Frank. Watch how I do this. I'm very good at this now. Oh no, that's me. There you go.
So Marianne, for you to know, we do not hear Frank. We don't hear anything actually. So if you could repeat.
Also saying I'm the best VPA he's ever met. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to summarize Frank's comments. So Frank's comments were around the importance of faculty as the heart and soul of sort of delivery and how he's very appreciative of all the work that faculty do. And I agree. Do you have a question, Frank?
Yeah.
I'm still listening, everyone. I'll summarize the question from Frank. And the question was around President Agnew's discussion yesterday and the surplus. So as President Agnew told us, Seneca is strong and in a strong financial position. And Frank's question is around, will we be reinvesting some of that surplus towards hiring partial load and full-time faculty? And reducing class sizes. So of course, Frank, I respect that your position as president of OPSU, that's your position. That's exactly what I would expect it to be. And certainly any surplus that Seneca has will be reinvested in Seneca, right? I think we're not in the business of building a war chest. We're not in the business of, we're not a profit organization where we're going to profit share. All of our surplus is going to be put back for students and for faculty. I'm certainly not in a position to commit to anything right now in terms of hiring, but what I can commit to is it's very, very important to me that we have a balance of full-time, partial load, part-time faculty, and it's very, very important to me that we have class sizes that are suitable and appropriate for what we're delivering. So thanks for putting that on my radar, and it is important to us. Thank you. Any other questions from the
Yeah, Marianne, one more from Jeff. Do we have any specific idea about the number or proportion of courses that we want to have youth flex, virtual, etc.?
Well, that's a good question. Do we have an idea of the proportion? I don't. I'm hoping that our task force together has a number. I know that I would like more flexible than we're doing now. I know that for sure. I know for sure I don't think we'll be all flexible. And I know for sure that I don't think we'll be no flexible. So I think it'll be somewhere between none and all and more than we're doing now. And I think, and I can't answer that question because every course is different. Like, how could I, if I'm answering that question and give you, if I say I want 80%, I think that would not be authentic. I think we need to sit down and look at the courses and determine what makes sense. I know that the vision is more flexible, definitely, because I think it makes sense for students and faculty really seem to be enjoying it. Those that are using it. But in terms of how much, we'll figure that out together as we look at the courses.
Thanks, Marianne. And Anthony Calamut had a question along the lines of Frank in terms of class size and section sizes and the challenges of managing large classes in an online format. So do you want to maybe comment on that and potentially additional training that we can develop and plan for managing large classes?
Yeah, large class. I remember when I taught that there are some challenges with large classes. There's also some great rewards. The hardest classes to teach are when you have 5, which I have done, 5 sitting in a room and you're trying to create some excitement. But managing class sizes strategically in a way that makes sense is something that we have to look at, and providing faculty with the tools. I know that through our Center for Teaching and Learning, there are lots of PD opportunities to help faculty deal with some of the best manage some class sizes. But I hear Anthony's question. It's a valid one, and it's something that definitely together we need to figure out how to manage. It does get difficult when we're inching up into the high numbers. And being strong financially gives us the opportunity to at least look at those conversations. So that gives us an opportunity to have those conversations and put together a plan that makes sense for our students. Oh, watch how I do this, everyone. There we go. I forgot. Thanks, Karen.
And Eric, not really a question, made a statement, but I'll read it to you. I fully believe that even if a class doesn't need to be in person, there's a strong benefit to in-person learning. I hope we will not give up on the concept of a majority of in-person learning.
Well, I think President Agnew made that very clear yesterday. We are not going to be an online institution. We will not be an online institution, 100% online. You're exactly right that it makes some classes just, oh, push the wrong button there, hang on. Some classes, it just makes sense to be face-to-face when we can in person. And I 100% agree with that statement. I think we have about another few minutes. Is there anything pressing, Tina? Or I know Tina's got a hard job there monitoring.
It's all pressing and they're all valuable questions and comments. Again, we will copy the chat, and if we haven't or Marianne hasn't addressed any of your comments, she will get back to you.
Yeah, if I've missed any of them, if I've missed it, I'm sure I have, we will copy the chat and I'll get back to you. We'll figure out the best way to get back to you. The other thing I'd like to mention is we are having a faculty forum, a virtual coffee, the second one. I believe it's the 3rd week, tentatively scheduled for the 3rd week in September. So keep an eye out for that. I don't have the exact date, so I won't give it now, but keep an eye out for that. And that's a little bit of a smaller forum. And that's an opportunity for us to talk a little bit more intimately. And also your chairs and deans are great places to start. Like, talk to them if you have questions, because we have some really smart chairs and deans that are always happy to talk through things with faculty. Should we wrap it up and go to did I finish it up, Tina? I'm sure we're probably missing. I so wish we were in person so that we can hear questions and you can raise your hands, but there will be opportunities to do that. So are we good, Tina?
We're good, thanks.
Good. That was great. It was so great to hear your questions. So thank you all. And before we go, just in closing, I think you can probably see how excited I am about the opportunities ahead of us. That excitement is very sincere and authentic. I look forward to speaking with all of you about these ideas in the weeks to come and fleshing out our academic direction. And then I really, really look forward to working with you as we develop specific action plans to accomplish them. This is not something that's going to be dropped today. I hope to be here next year with a whole list of ways that we've accomplished some of the things that we set out to do. I hope that you can start to see yourself, no matter your role, in the 3 pillars, and that you start to think about how you'd like to contribute to one or all of them. Together, I know for sure, together we can really make a difference. It may seem like a lot, but I know that we can do this. I know it. I know for sure. And I know we have what it takes. And I'm looking at what it takes. I'm looking at it here. I'm looking at it here on my screen. We have what it takes to do this. So let's get to work and have a great startup, everyone. And I'm so glad that you all came to spend some time with me this morning. And stay safe. Thank you. It's going to stop. Bye, everyone. Online.